Hello, brothers and sisters. I am here to talk to you on a title that is called The End of Days and the Tribulation. For some of you that don't know what this means, let me explain and give you some explanations of what's coming soon. It's called the time of trouble. And it was spoken the first time it was spoken in the book of Daniel. You can read upon this also in verse Daniel chapter 11 and 12. It actually goes as far back as the beginning of Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Daniel chapter 3. It has to do with worship. It has to do with obedience. And it has to do with knowing the difference between what day to worship and what day is not to worship. And this is all tied in to Revelation 13 of Mark of the Beast. It's kind of one big package deal, you might as well say. So, I want to explain to you today how long this tribulation will start. I'm going to give you some headlines, whenever I get them uploaded. I will give you some headlines that is directly linked to what's happening in our government and their plans. And it's been happening probably since this month, to be exact. So, the title of this, I'm going to call it, is End of Days and Tribulation. That's the title of it. First of all, let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 24. I'm reading from the King James Version, Holy Bible. It's a whooped out old Bible. And this is talking about the end of days. And so in Matthew 24 verses 3, it's going to start off with that because Jesus tells us the signs and what's going to take place and how to know of the season of the tribulation and how long it's going to last and signs of his second coming appearance. Like he says, we don't know the hour. We don't know the time. A lot of people give a lot of dates. I don't do that. Just make sure that's clear. I will be speaking directly from scriptures. I will give you some key notes and key information. Okay? Alright. Let's turn me to Matthew 24, chapter 24, beginning verse 3. And this is what it says. And he sat up on the Mount of Olives, and privately saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of the coming in the end of the world? These are the disciples asking Jesus, what are the signs and the seasons of the end of the world? Alright, you can follow along with this. Beginning in Matthew 24, verse 4, it says, And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceives you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. For me, you shall hear of wars, and hear of rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. In verse 7 it says, For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdoms, and famine and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. I also honestly believe that the word nation is also not just country to country war, but also nationality between whites and blacks, racism, what's going on in the world today. I honestly believe that nation can be described also as a color or a racist. So just keep that in mind. In verse 8 it says, all of these are the beginning of sorrows. The first few things, the earthquakes, famine, pestilence, wars, rumors of wars, these are just considered sorrows. But one of the key factors that's in here is in verse 9. In Matthew 24, verse 9, it says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Okay? I will explain that here in a minute. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Okay. Now, if you switch down a few verses in Matthew 24, beginning into verse 20, it says, but pray you that your flight not be in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. First of all, I'm going to tell you just a few passageways in just this. I'm going to explain this to y'all on biblical terms, not man terms. Okay, in verse 9 when it says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. This is talking about the Christian persecution. It happened once in 321 AD by the Roman Empire. After Jesus has ascended from heaven, okay, all his followers, including the apostles and those behind them, all kept a specific day. And it was a Sabbath. Okay? And this is where Mark of the Beast also takes in. So it's all kind of between tribulation and Mark of the Beast and the end of days. It's all kind of mixed into one. Okay? So, I'm going to stop there for just a moment, and I'm going to read to you and how everything is connected. I'm going to read you the verse of Mark of the Beast in Revelation 13. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death. And his deadly wound was healed. And the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which will be Satan. The dragon represents Satan. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him, verse 5, and you also need to catch this one as well. Verse 5 of Revelation 13. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things, and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue for 42 months. And he opened his mouth and blasphemed against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and have power was given him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. The Lamb that was slain was Jesus Christ, who was crucified on the cross. Okay? And if any man has an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth in captivity shall go into captivity, and he that killeth with a sword must be killed with a sword. Here is the patience and the faith of saints. And I beheld another beast. This is verse 11 of Revelation 13. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. And he exercised all his power of the first beast, who before him, and caused the earth and with them which dwell there to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he does great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound, and by the sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. In verse 16. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or on their foreheads. And that no man may buy or sell, save he that has the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And here is wisdom. Let him that understands count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay? Now let me tell you exactly how everything's going to be tied in together. First of all, when Jesus was telling you in verse 9 of Matthew 24, when he said, they shall take you up to be afflicted. That means you will be taken up. If you notice around you that the government is setting up systems. Okay? If you notice how a lot of these FEMA camps, okay, that are out here, they're not just for show. In fact, Revelation 2:10 is tied in with this. You can go to Revelation 2:10. For none of those things which thou shalt suffer, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, and ye may be tried, and ye shall have a tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So how is all this tied into Matthew 24 and Revelation 13? It's simple. Very soon there is a law coming. Okay? And keep in mind this. There is a law, and it's going to be called the National Sunday Law. And it's going to be a day where the government makes a bill pass or a law pass that will have everybody to worship and go to church on Sundays. Okay? The mark of the beast is this. When Sunday worship becomes mandatory, and it will, I got some videos and links, but I will have to upload them later to y'all. When Sunday becomes law, and you are forced to worship on Sunday and work on Saturday, this is where the test comes in. Okay, the antichrist, which is the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican. Okay. And he's going to be playing a major role in all these last day events. Okay, because they have a history behind it. Let's see, how can I explain this? Okay. Satan, if you know the story when Jesus was first tempted into the wilderness, and even beyond that, you can go as far as Revelation 12. It talks about the first war in heaven with Lucifer and Jesus, okay? There was a war in heaven. Satan, or Lucifer, or the dragon, and 1/3 of the angels fell from grace. They chose to open rebel against God, okay? Well, after God had created the new earth, some time frame between the time that Satan and his angels fell and the creation, man was made. And God gave authority to man to take care of the garden, to take care of the world. You know the creation story of Genesis, the creation. Well, God had told Eve and Adam, there's one particular fruit tree that you are not to touch or eat unless you die. And that was the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. And they knew this. They had been worshiping God for a long, long time prior to this happening. Okay? We don't know the ethics. We don't know exactly when it took place. But we know it took place. And Eve was walking down, this trail one day in the garden, and she came and stumbled across this tree. It so happens that there was a serpent that was talking, and it was talking to Eve. And it tempted her to touch and eat of this forbidden fruit that God said not to. Of course, she gave her allegiance to this serpent, and ultimately disobeyed God. From that point on, the sin was passed from them all the way to us. Okay? And man had no longer dominion over the earth. Okay? Satan did. Satan had dominion. So, where does this all tie in? Satan wants to be worshipped. Okay? And you have to understand this. The 7th day Sabbath is Saturday, not Sunday. Because Sunday was changed by the Roman Empire in 321 AD after Jesus had ascended into heaven. And a lot of his followers kept the Sabbath. In fact, they was killed and murdered for their faith. And even though man had changed the Sabbath law from Saturday to Sunday, God did not. Okay? 7th day, you're supposed to be holy. You're not supposed to work. You're not supposed to do anything like that. So how is all this tied in to last day events? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's going to be about a test about your obedience to God versus man. The tribulation period starts when this new law comes into effect about Sunday worship being mandatory. Okay? Once it becomes effect, you have the right hand that's in the book of Revelation. It has nothing to do with tattoos. It has nothing to do with any kind of chip implants, although I wouldn't take it anyway, even if it did. I still going to avoid it. There is a system coming out when it, sometime next year, I believe it is. There's a thing called new ID. This new ID is supposed to be on your license, your ID card, or whatever it's supposed to be on, and it's going to be able to track you, and it's going to be able to tell you where you can go to worship. It's going to be able to tell you where, whether you can buy food or not. It can actually control your lifestyle. It can control where you go, where you live. It can ultimately take some features away from you. Just like pretty much like China's doing. They got a whole system over there where it does everything. The government themselves controls you. And so the antichrist is the government that is connected to the Vatican Catholic Church, because after the Catholic Church makes in their submission, everybody will be going after, they will be worshiping according to the Catholic Church ways. There is I have some articles down that I've previously read since this month and some last month. I have to put them down, links down here. It's about that one of the Pompeo, I guess his name is, that's over the FBI or some director in the government politics. And he is saying that all religion should be centered around the Catholic Church. Now keep that in mind, because you have a choice. There's a seal. In the last days, right before Jesus comes, there's going to be a trial. The tribulation is when Sunday becomes law. If you refuse to accept Sunday worship, you will be tied into FEMA camps, and you will possibly be killed and beheaded. And how is all this connected? Well, Matthew 24 verse 9 says they will take you up and you will be afflicted and you will be in pain and you will be killed for his sake. Okay? Revelation 2:10 tells you that you will have tribulation in prison for 10 days. Revelation 2:10 says that. Revelation 13 tells you that the tribulation or the antichrist will make war with God's people, especially God's people, Christians. And this tribulation period will last for 42 months or 3.5 years. Now everybody, I hear a lot of people saying the tribulation is 7 years. There's no such thing as biblical 7-year tribulation. It's not biblical, okay? However, there is a 3.5 year period. Daniel and Revelation both calls it a time, times, and half a time. A time equals 1 year. Times with an S equals 2 years. And half a time equals 6 years. So you do the math. Time, times, and a half a time. So 1 plus 2 equals 3, plus a half a year would equal 6 months. 3 years equals 36 months, plus 6 months added to that would make it to 42 months. So you got 3.5 years. Okay? So what's going to happen during this tribulation period? Well, I'm going to tell you. Lawlessness will increase. You will have things happening so rapidly. Wars will break out. You will see murders like crazy. This ain't nothing. The things that are in this world today is just shadows of what's coming. You haven't seen nothing yet. But the main tribulation period is when your choice will be made based on your faith and obedience to God. And it's going to have a lot to do with the Sabbath. And you need to know which one is the true Sabbath, which is Saturday, not Sunday. Sunday was created by the Catholic Church. That's why most people follow the Catholic ways. very soon, when this Sunday law becomes law, the world's going to be focusing on the Catholic Church's religion. Right now, our government is trying to take our freedom of religion away from us. And Jeff Sessions is coming up right now, building a army military service task force to religious freedom, which this is how I believe is connected. When Jeff says, I believe honestly, I've said it in the past, but I say honestly, I have a gut feeling about this. Because very soon, when the Sunday law becomes law, there will be one religion, one currency, and it's a new world order. One religion, one currency, and one government. Okay? And the person that will be behind this will be the antichrist. So how is all this connected? Well, the tribulation will start, or the tribulation will last for 42 months, okay? You will be killed, possibly. You will be beheaded. That's what Scripture says, that most people will be beheaded and will have trials, and a lot of people will come out of the tribulation. Here's how I know. Go to Revelation 7:14. Turn me to Revelation 7:14. And I said, this time about John, and I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which come out of the great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. And here's another one. Revelation 20, verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. Tribulation's coming. Like I said, it's going to have a lot to do with worship. You're going to have to make your ultimate choice, because very soon our government right now is setting these program systems up. They're going to take our religious freedom, religious speech away from us, anything that involves religion, and they're going to force us, as you've seen in the Revelation 13 in the beginning, that the second beast, which is the United States, will cause all people, nations, world, to worship the first beast, which is the Vatican, the Catholic Church. The United States is so powerful. We have influences. We influence the world around us. It's going to start in America, and then after that, it's going to spread like a wildfire. Other countries will follow. So the point is this: tribulation is when Sunday becomes law. You're going to be granted to make your final choice. You can either honor God and don't work on Saturday and stay away from Sunday, or you can disobey God and keep Sunday Now, you can read Revelation 14, 15, and 16, and Revelation 19:20. And it tells you what happens to those who worship the beast. So keep in mind, the government right now is building this system up. A task force for religious. Very soon the martial law will come in. It's going to be a military service. Martial law will come into our homes, and they will arrest us, possibility. And they will throw us in these FEMA camps. And you will be in there for a long time. And you won't come out alive. I promise you that now. You won't come out alive. So you have a choice to make. It's coming. My question to you is, are you ready for what's coming? Are you ready to spend eternity with God? Or are you going to deny Him, reject everything you ever known about, or if anything, and be cast into the lake of fire? That's your choice. The tribulation period is coming. Right now we're in the days of sorrow, but very soon there's going to be a law, a Sunday law, worship mandatory. And it's going to be about trial. It's going to be about your faith and obedience. God bless you. And I hope that you make the right choices. God loves you.